Welcome back, my beautiful people, to This Week in Review. I'm going to get right into today's question, and I really like today's question, and I think you're going to be surprised by the result of the research that I did in answering this question. Number one, the question is, what is the most exciting U.S. market as it relates to short-term rentals? So I'm going to attack this question this way. I'm going to give you the most exciting areas in which there's great opportunity in investments for short-term rentals, okay? So let's just recap real quick on where the market is, right? Back in 2023, and I said this on a couple of other videos, back in 2023 was a big year for short-term rentals. Not necessarily for the individual operator, but for Airbnb, the company as a whole, it was big. They had over 2.25 million listings in the US alone, right? They generated over $64 billion in the US alone, right? Those numbers are big. And the reason I say it was great for the industry as a whole is because a lot of you guys, especially individual mom and pop operators, didn't fare so well, especially if you were in a oversaturated market, which a lot of markets became oversaturated, and or you really weren't on top of your game and you got caught with your pants down. So, I highly encourage you, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, that you subscribe to the channel, because I'm always talking about trends, I'm always talking about the market, and I'm always talking about what is potentially going to be out there. And I'm not always right, but I have been right a lot. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, do yourself a favor, and me a favor, by subscribing. Now, let me continue. When doing this research, I was looking at 6 different key performance data markers, right? 3 are going to be in terms of, let me just go into the 6, right? The first one's going to be the average daily rate. Now, some of you may be asking, how do I calculate that? Well, it's calculated by dividing the revenue generated from the reservation by the number of days reserved in a particular booking. The next is going to be RevPAR, which is the daily average per available rental. Very important. And that's calculated by dividing the total revenue generated by the number of available properties in that particular market. It's very important. And you're going to see on some of the data that I'm going to give you, you're going to see that the average daily rate is high and the RevPAR may be just below that. And then you're going to see some areas in which the RevPAR is way below that. But the reason for that is because those markets have a higher number of available short-term rentals versus others. So that's why that number is important for me. I want to know how saturated is the market, and you learn that through your RevPAR. Next is going to be the occupancy rate, and I'm going to give you these numbers. Next 3 has to deal with seasonality, or is it an area in which there are specific seasons in it? Next is the revenue growth potential. Is there potential for massive growth? Or, for example, if it's an area, an up-and-coming tourist area, is it an area in which there's going to be a lot of new, exciting, or areas in which there's going to be a lot of transit or business travel demands? Stuff like that. And then the last one I'm going to look at is regulation. Now, keep in mind with regulation, you may enter a market that currently doesn't have any regulations for short-term rentals. And just like we did, I can tell you when I started this business, every market I was in didn't have regulations. Today, almost all the markets I'm in have regulations. So understand that you may enter a market that doesn't currently have any regulations, or the regulations aren't super strict, but that may change. This is why it's extremely important that you be active within your community, that you act professionally, that you don't do anything to hamper or risk your investment, right? And so again, you really have to stay on top of this stuff. Get to know your commissioners. Get to know what the policies of the administration that's running your area. What are their policies, and or what are their views? More importantly, what are their views on the short-term rental industry? I'm here to tell you, it will have an impact in your business if you gamble wrong. So I mentioned this before. New York City is a prime example. New York City has killed the short-term rental industry. Hawaii, there's current legislation in Hawaii that it's going to adversely and dramatically affect the short-term rental industry. Hoping that doesn't pass, but if it does, I'm telling you that's gonna really hurt the industry in that area. But anyways, these are the markets that I'm looking for. Now I'm gonna go quickly through these hot, exciting areas because I don't want this video to be super long. Now I will say this. Here's where the surprise comes in. Most of these areas that I'm going to mention, I never heard of them, but the numbers are really, really good. So the first one is Albuquerque, New Mexico. Average daily rate of 207 and RevPAR of 133 and an occupancy rate of 63. Next is Cook City, Montana. Average daily rate of 317 with a RevPAR of 212, which is high, and occupancy rate of 67%. Now, I said that the RevPAR is high here, right? Anytime you have a RevPAR that's higher than $165, that's a good market, people. That means that the average daily rate of all the properties that are being listed, it's going to be the minimum is going to be 165, for example, using that number. In this particular case, the average is 212. That's very good. Next is Crete, Colorado, with a average daily rate of 274 and a RevPAR of 142. Now, here's an example of what I was talking about. You have a high RevPAR, high average daily rate. It's at 274, but the RevPAR is at 142, right? That means there's a lot of short-term rentals in this area. And the occupancy rate for this area is 51%. Again, that means there's a lot of competition here. But the reason it's been added to this list is because of its potential. There's a lot going on in this particular area that's very attractive, and it relates to your entry point into the market. So real estate here is not as expensive as other places. So the entry point to get in is good, right? Next is Paradise Valley, Montana. Average daily rate of 320, RevPAR of 188, occupancy rate of 58%. Next is Rico, Colorado. Average daily rate of 244, RevPAR of 150, occupancy rate of 63%. Now this was my number one right here. And these are not in any particular order, right? But this one was the biggest surprise, has the biggest upside, and that is Rodanthe, North Carolina. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right, so I'm going to spell it for you. It's Rodanthe, North Carolina. It's on the Outer Banks. If you know where the Outer Banks of North Carolina is, this area is there. It came in at an average daily rate of 376 and a RevPAR of 287 with an occupancy rate of 72%. People, this is a phenomenal. If you're looking for a place to invest in, I highly recommend you look at this place. Next is Tulsa, Oklahoma. Average daily rate of 176, RevPAR of $97, and occupancy rate of 53%. Next, again, this one, the numbers are low, but again, it's the entry point that's important here. Next is Western Colorado of $184, RevPAR of 113, occupancy rate of 59%. And the last two is going to be Western Nebraska of an average daily rate of 120 with a RevPAR of 56 and an occupancy rate of 47. And the last one is going to be Wisconsin Dells in Wisconsin with an average daily rate of 131, RevPAR of 85, and an occupancy rate of 58%. Okay, extremely interesting. These areas, like I said, I don't know about you, but for me, I never heard of most of these places. But very interesting on what are the most exciting areas to invest in. All right, let's get right into our revenue. Revenue for last week came in at 37,000. We had 231 nights booked last week. We're at an occupancy rate of 71%, an average daily rate of 160, and our RevPAR is at 115. Per platform, we came in at number one at 22,000. Airbnb came in at 5,450. Booking came in at 4,500. Verbal came in at 2,400, and others came in at 2,000. In terms of RevPAR per property, we have. This one's interesting because this one came out. It's in Ventura County, California. This one is in Fort Lauderdale. Oh, I'm sorry, it came in at 262. Fort Lauderdale East, which means the beach, came in at 316. Wilton Manors, 225. Oakland Park, 215. And others at 101. In terms of staffing, nothing to report in staffing. In terms of issues, nothing really to report there, but I will recap, because I say this a lot throughout the videos. Documentation, let me say that 3 times. It's going to be important for you. We recently had a guest who paid our waiver. Now, our insurance waiver is for any accidental damage. So in this particular case, they paid the waiver, and on their last day, the toilets got backed up, or the toilet in one of the bathrooms got backed up, which also backed up the bathtub and the sink. We sent our maintenance team out there. Maintenance team went out there, removed the toilet, to discover that the guests were throwing tampons down the toilet, which caused it to get clogged the pipes, which created the backup. Now, the waiver doesn't cover that. So our guest, we charged the guest $200 for the visit and to get the stuff unclogged. Guests weren't happy, but we presented them with the video. This is why it's important that you document stuff. We presented them with the video, showing them why it was backed up. And while my maintenance team was there, we showed the guests, which at the time was the person that actually rented it wasn't home, but the person that was there, we showed them what caused it, and we took their name down. And when we're showing them, that part was videotaped. So they had full knowledge that it was at that backed up toilet was a result of their negligence, right? Because we have posted signs to don't throw feminine products down the toilet, which they did. Hence why we added the extra charge. Now, they complained to Airbnb. We provided the video to Airbnb, and Airbnb sided with us for the extra charge, and we got our $200. So again, the purpose of that is to make sure you understand that you need to document everything. And today, photographs and videos are going to be highly important. In terms of our project progress, nothing new to report. We're still working on our tiny homes in Georgia. I haven't been there in about a week or two, so I don't know where our grapes are for that. But we're heavily working on optimization. Those of you that hired us, thank you for hiring us. If you want to hire us to visit your property, help you strategize and come up with plans on how to maximize your income potential for each property, then just DM us. We're excited about that. And that's going to be it for this video, people. Hope it was useful. If it was, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, buy me a coffee, Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.